Hello, my friends. Thank you for tuning in. This is episode 50B. I'm continuing with Daniel 2. Here we go. I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember where I left off. I'm just going to start at Daniel 2. 2:32. As regards that image, its head was of good gold, its breast and its arms were of silver, its belly and its thighs were of copper. Oh, this is where King Nebuchadnezzar had ordered all of the magi killed because they could not, number one, tell him what his dream was. Number two, tell him what the meaning of that dream was. But as they were going to kill Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, Daniel said that he knew what the dream was. So the soldier brought him to King Nebuchadnezzar, and Daniel is now telling King Nebuchadnezzar what his dream was. I'm going to back up a little bit. Daniel saying to the king, "As for you, O king, on your bed, your own thoughts came up as regards what is to occur after this. And the one who is the revealer of secrets has made known to you what is to occur. And as for me, it is not through any wisdom that exists in me, more than any others alive, that this secret is revealed to me, except to the extent that the interpretation may be made known to the king himself, and that the thoughts of your heart you may know." So Daniel's saying to the king, I have no power, I'm just a normal man, but God wants you to know what your dream is. So he says, Daniel says in Daniel book 2, verse 31, "You, O king, happened to be beholding, and look, a certain immense image. That image, which was large, and the brightness of which was extraordinary, was standing in front of you, and its appearance was dreadful. As regards that image, its head was of good gold, its breast and its arms were of silver, its belly and its thighs were of copper, its legs were of iron, its feet were partly of iron and partly molded of clay. You kept on looking until a stone was cut out, not by hands, and it struck the image on its feet of iron and of molded clay, and crushed them. So apparently a rock just floats over and smashes the giant image on the feet. At that time, the iron, the molded clay, the copper, the silver, and the gold were altogether crushed and became like the chaff from the summer threshing floor. And the wind carried them away, so that no trace at all was found of them. So the rocks smashed the image, and it came to chaff, like little pieces of wheat, and then the wind blew all that away. And no trace until it was all gone. And, excuse me, and the wind carried them away, so that no trace at all was found of them. And as for the stone that struck the image, it became a large mountain and filled the whole earth. This is the dream, and its interpretation we shall say before the king. You, O king, the King of kings, you to whom the God of heaven has given the kingdom, the might, and the strength, and the dignity, and into whose hand he has given wherever the sons of mankind are dwelling, the beasts of the field, and the winged creatures of heavens, and whom he has made ruler over all of them. You yourself are the head of gold. So, apparently Daniel is saying that God made King Nebuchadnezzar ruler of the whole earth, of every human on earth, or every human that he could, within his sphere of influence, that he was the head of gold. And after you there will rise another kingdom inferior to you, and another kingdom, a third one of copper, that will rule over the whole earth. And as for the fourth kingdom, it'll prove to be strong. I don't know, I'm so dehydrated all of a sudden. I don't usually talk much. And after you there will rise another kingdom, inferior to you, and another kingdom, a third one, of copper, that will rule over the whole earth. And as for the fourth kingdom, it will prove to be strong like iron, forasmuch as iron is crushing and grinding everything else. So, like iron that shatters, it will crush and shatter even all these. And whereas you behold the feet and the toes to be partly of molded clay of a potter and partly of iron, the kingdom itself will prove to be divided. But somewhat of the hardness of iron will prove to be in it. For as much as you beheld the iron mixed with moist clay, and as for the toes of the feet, being partly of iron and partly of molded clay, the kingdom will partly prove to be strong and will partly prove to be fragile. That sounds like America. Whereas you beheld iron mixed with moist clay, they will come to be mixed with the offspring of mankind, but they will not prove to be sticking together, this one to that one, just as iron is not mixing with molded clay. And in the days of those kings, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom that will never be brought to ruin, and the kingdom itself will not be passed on to any other people. It will crush and put an end to all these kingdoms, and it itself will stand to times indefinite. That sounds like after Armageddon. Set up during the millennial reign, or after the millennial reign. For as much as you beheld that out of the mountain a stone was cut not by hands, and that it crushed the iron, the copper, the molded clay, the silver, and the gold, the grand God himself has made known to the king what is to occur after this. Oh my God. And the dream is reliable, and the interpretation of it is trustworthy. At that time, King Nebuchadnezzar himself fell down upon his face, and to Daniel he paid homage. and he said to offer even a present and incense to him. The king was answering Daniel and saying, "Truly, the God of you men is a God of gods, and a Lord of kings, and a revealer of secrets, because you were able to reveal this secret. Consequently, the king made Daniel someone great, and many big gifts he gave to him, and he made him the ruler over all the jurisdictional district of Babylon, and the chief prefect over all the wise men of Babylon." And Daniel, for his part, made a request of the king, and he appointed over the administration of the jurisdictional district of Babylon Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. But Daniel was in the court of the king. That's it. God bless you. Thank you.